Miles should have been home over an hour ago.
Well, why don't you try calling his office again?
He's not there. Every time I call, his service picks up.
And no one saw him at Monticello General?
No. Checked with the resident on duty in the emergency room and the head nurse on the 6th floor. They haven't seen him since rounds this afternoon.
Yeah, maybe it's just a night for emergencies. I mean, look at Elliot. He's off trying to keep that foolish woman from committing suicide some way.
He was trying to reach you here. I hope he didn't try to get through while I was on the phone.
It doesn't matter, darling. Don't worry about it. You have enough to worry about.
Margot, I'm more than worried at this point. I'm frightened.
Look, now any minute now, Miles is going to walk through that gate with a perfectly reasonable explanation.
When he does, I'm going to give him a big hug, and then I'm going to wring his neck.
It's better. Come on, try to relax.
Relax. Margot, it's the middle of the night and Miles isn't home. Where could he be?
Come on, Doc, let's get a move on.
Doing the best I can.
Yeah, we'll just do it faster.
This is not a simple procedure.
Yank the bullet out and close her up. You're not getting paid by the
Listen,
hour.
man, it is bad enough that I've got to operate in this place, in all this filth, with only half the necessary instruments. But you hovering above me like that, you're making it impossible.
This is no time to start acting like a prima donna.
I got enough pressure on me as it is, without the muzzle of that gun 6 inches from my head. I can't work this way. You want me to finish this? You got to get out of here.
Well?
I did the best I could. It's all over.
How is she?
I managed to get the bullet out. She's still breathing. That's about all I can say.
I knew you could do it, Doc.
I'm not going to kid you. She's in critical condition. She's lost a lot of blood. That infection is profuse. I can't give you any guarantee she's going to recover.
I didn't ask you for any.
No? No ultimatums either? If she dies, I die?
Don't put any ideas in my head. I know you did the best you could.
You're very casual about this, you know?
Look, she needed a doctor. I got her a doctor. What more could I do?
Could have taken her to the hospital.
Oh, great. The minute we walk through the front door of a hospital, they get on the phone
She's
to the
a
cops.
human being. She deserves that kind of medical attention.
Don't ask me to feel sorry for her. She brought this on herself.
Oh, what'd she do?
The less you know about this, Doc, the better off you're going to be.
You know, there are an awful lot of doctors in Monticello. How is it I had the honor to be chosen to make this house call?
I needed a doctor fast. I saw your lights on. It's as simple as that.
My wife is going to be worried sick about me. Do you think I could call her, at least tell her I'm all right?
Sorry, the phone's dead. Hey, what makes you think you're going to be all right?
Oh, what's going to happen to me?
How long's it going to be before we find out if she's going to pull through?
It's hard to tell. We just have to wait and see.
Well, then we'll wait.
Look, let me take her to the hospital, would you? At least if any complications arise, they'll be able to treat it.
We're not going anyplace.
I won't say a word about you. The way you drove me here in a roundabout fashion, I
I've
wouldn't be
taken
able to
all the
find
chances
place
I'm going to take. I took a big risk leaving you two alone in there.
Why? Why? Did you think we'd conspire against you?
She could have said something.
What could she say? She was under sedation.
Yeah, but you told me you didn't knock her out completely. She could have talked. She could have told you things. Did she, Doc?
She didn't say a word.
Yeah, you talk about having a defendant dead to rights. I'm sure Mr. Presta was very embarrassed when he realized that he had just lent $2,000 at 25% interest per week to an undercover detective.
We're gonna have to be careful on this one, though. We're gonna have to watch out for an entrapment defense.
I know that. Well, what have we here? The People versus Page Madison.
I thought you were gonna save your favorite case for last. Look, we don't have to talk about this. We both know what's going on.
Yeah, nothing.
Don't start with me, huh?
When are you going to realize that it was stupid to grant the little Miss Moneybags immunity?
Well, not as long as I still think that was the best way to catch the real bad guys.
Oh, yeah, she was going to lead us straight to the gang, especially Tobias. The only thing that's been led around here is us through the nose.
Well, these things take time.
Oh, I was sure that that testimony wasn't worth a hill of beans, even before that she admitted that she pulled those identities out of thin air.
Human lie detector, huh, Cliff?
She perjured herself. Look, you should have withdrawn that immunity immediately.
Draper convinced me that she'd seen the error of her ways, that we had nothing to lose by giving her a second chance, all right?
Wow. I didn't realize that Draper Scott was running the district attorney's office. She acted in bad faith. Snow White should be in jail where she belongs.
It's too soon. Now, what we're talking about here is a manhunt on a massive scale. It could be months before we see any results from her testimony.
But you don't have months.
Oh?
Yeah. That election is less than 12 weeks away. Now, those people are going to have a dynamic district attorney, not somebody who sits on his hands.
Well, I didn't expect to get your vote anyway.
Look, I just don't want all my hard work to go for nothing. Now, you forget that I'm going to be the one sitting in this office doing all your work while you're out on that campaign trail?
It sort of sticks in your craw, doesn't it? I mean, the fact that I'm going to be the one on the campaign trail and not you.
What? What do you mean, man? Come on, you didn't think I was serious about what I said before, did you?
No. Of course, if the committee had dumped me, then you would have been serious, wouldn't you?
It's just water over the bridge.
Or under the dam.
You know, if you're going to continue being a public servant, you're going to have to watch your language.
You were disappointed that I got that nomination, weren't you, Cliff?
No. I was a little surprised, that's all. I didn't think it was possible to pull rabbits out of hats. Of course, then, if I had Mrs. Geraldine Saxon as my magician...
Who told you that she had anything to do with it?
Well, who else? I mean, she's buddy-buddy with the mayor, right? Who else could twist all the arms of everybody on that committee?
Well, you may be right.
She's some magician to have in your corner. Just what exactly is Geraldine Saxon to you, anyway?
She is my secret lover. I keep her in an apartment over on River Street, and I take her flowers and candy every Wednesday afternoon.
No kidding. Hey, you know, you had me going there for a while. I almost believed you, except I've seen your wife.
That's the connection. Raven is the widow of Geraldine's adopted son, Kevin.
Is that right? Come to think of it, didn't she once marry Deborah Saxon's old man? The notorious Tony Saxon?
Well, now that we've got our genealogy straight, can we finish these cases, huh? Get down to work?
Huh?
Work.
Oh, yeah, right. Deborah Saxon's stepmother, huh? Now, here's the one we ought to do something about. It's this guy that Deborah Saxon arrested for booking horses and selling smack at the same time. Is that what they mean by a two-horse parlay?
I can't help noticing that that's about the 5th time you've brought up the name this evening.
Two-horse parlay?
Deborah Saxon. You really must have a thing for her.
Oh, I've always liked redheads.
No, do yourself a favor. Go to a singles bar and pick up another one.
Why?
I have known Deborah Saxon for a long time. Believe me, this is a losing proposition for you.
Why do you say that?
Well, you know why. She has other interests.
Well, tell me, come on. Who is he? I'll punch him out.
Yeah, you do that. You try that with Steve Guthrie. You'll end up prosecuting your next case from a wheelchair.
Steve Guthrie. Let's see, now, where have I heard that name before? I think it's somewhere from Deborah Saxon's past. Long ago and far away. B.C.
Before Cliff.
Hey, you got that one.
Thank you.
I know all about that relationship. They were just comrades in arms.
Oh, they were in arms, all right. But if you don't mind the competition.
I don't mind competition from anybody.
Fools rush in. I tell you what. We'll do one more case, and then let's call it quits for this evening.
Hey, no way. I got all of these, and I got a half a dozen cases back in my office.
So soon.
Look, you promised me that I could have your undivided attention for another 2 hours.
It's what's known as tough luck. I've been up since 6:30 this morning. I've been running from meeting to meeting all day. I just can't concentrate anymore, okay?
Sure. I certainly wouldn't want you to kill yourself before the election. Why don't you go home to wifey poo and baby and leave Cinderella here to do all your work for you?
Thank you. I will do that. You are a sweetheart. We'll start first thing tomorrow morning, same place where we left off. No, seriously, thank you. Raven is going to be pleasantly surprised. See you tomorrow.
Yeah. Good night, boss.
It is such a shame that these moments are so few and far between.
It's a miracle they happen at all.
You know, it's a miracle this one happened, and I can't believe that we pulled it off at the last minute.
Well, obviously it had to be at the last minute, since you didn't know your husband was working late.
That's right. You think the man would have the decency to give me a little advance notice when he left.
Oh, how very thoughtless of him.
And this motel. Do you know, I swore I would never, ever meet in a place like this.
Does the place really matter?
It's just that I knew it was going to be a tacky little joint with a flashing neon sign, and I didn't think I'd be able to relax.
Oh, you were very relaxed.
Well, it's no Palace Park, but it'll do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we were very lucky that Margot couldn't join us, and Logan spent the entire day playing golf.
Well, fate is on our side, obviously. Although we'd had to have a helping hand tonight.
Did Margot actually believe that story? That you ran off to help some ex-disciple of yours?
Well, you see, Margot knows how devoted some of my ex-disciples were when I headed that cult movement. So she couldn't very well refuse if I rushed off to aid someone who was threatening suicide.
You are such a clever man.
But the real hoax was perpetrated right under her nose. I had to have Mickey call me on my private line. I took the call a few feet away from her.
You know, you're going to be in some trouble tomorrow, though.
Why?
Because suicides are usually in the newspaper, and when she doesn't read about it, she might be a little suspicious.
Oh, no, but you see, the attempt never took place. I talked her out of it.
Oh, you're so persuasive.
As they say, necessity is the mother of invention. And boy, was it necessary that I see you tonight.
Well, you know what else is necessary?
What?
I have to leave.
Oh, but you told me Logan won't be home for another hour.
Yeah, well, I just want to give myself a little leeway, you know?
Ah, you'll need 15 minutes to get there.
No, really, I don't want to take any chances. I have a baby, you know.
Ah, Mrs. Harris will take good care of her.
Well, you see, Mrs. Harris isn't there. I called her, and she said that she wasn't feeling very well, so she couldn't come.
Oh. Well, whoever is watching the baby will take good care of it. Just who is watching the baby?
Well, if you want to know the truth, nobody. I left him alone.
Raven, how could you do that?
Well, I didn't have any choice. I tried to get a babysitter. I did.
How old is Jamie?
7 months.
7. How do you expect him to care for himself?
Well, look, I knew I was only going to be gone an hour or so. Besides, he's a good baby. Usually I just tuck him in, he goes right to sleep.
But what if something unexpected occurs? What would happen then?
Look, he's going to be all right, so don't worry.
Raven, I'm aware that you have a reckless streak. But, I mean, your actions tonight were totally irresponsible.
Elliot, don't lay a guilt trip on me, all right? You want to blame somebody, you blame yourself.
For what?
Because I would never have left Jamie alone if I hadn't come here to meet you. And I just thought maybe you might appreciate it. So don't worry about him, okay?
Well, if you believe that yourself, why don't you stay longer?
Because I have to get home before Logan does.
Okay. Always a dutiful wife and mother. Well, I suppose it's time for you to run along, Mommy.
I will pretend I never heard that.
I just spoke your sentiments.
Do you like me, Elliot?
I do.
Would you like to continue seeing me?
As often as possible.
Well, then never, and I mean never, let me hear you say Mommy again.
Sweetheart, they sent me here to report a 607 robbery. This the place?
What are you doing here at this time of night?
See, it's my heart. Stolen by some scarlet-haired woman. Seen any hearts around here lately?
You know, babyface, if you had a heart, you'd let me finish typing this arrest report up.
And you recognize me. What was it, my tie?
Yeah. I can't wait to get out of here and go flop into bed.
Two minds with but a single thought.
Isn't it a little bit late for you to be out harassing people, Cliff?
I had to work late, otherwise I would have started earlier. Oh, come on, I mean it. When are you going to arrange your hours so that we can have our off time together, huh?
I like being off when you're working. It keeps our relationship simple.
Scarlett, sir, you're a hard woman. But, I have come here to make an offer that you can't refuse.
Don't count on it.
Well, I was going to offer you the possibility of being escorted home by one of Monticello's, leading political figures.
Chief Marceau already offered me a ride home. I told him I didn't need it.
I meant me.
Cliff, I don't know what time I'm going to get out of here, all right? I don't want you to lose any sleep over me.
No, I insist. Look, this town is a jungle at night. Lions and tigers in the streets. A person isn't safe alone.
Oh, I have my .32 caliber companion to make sure I get home all right.
That's what I mean. What about poor defenseless me? Look, if I left here and something happened to me, you would never forgive yourself.
Well, I'd try to get over it.
The guilt would eat your heart out, which reminds me, I'm really hungry. Why don't we stop on the way home and get a nice, thick, juicy hamburger?
But don't you realize I'm working the late shift? I'm not going to get out of here for another 2 hours. The way I'm going, it's going to be 3.
Well, then let's send out for food.
They don't deliver at this time of night.
All right. I will go to the all-night diner, and I will pick up hamburgers for you.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. I haven't had anything to eat except yogurt all day. Sounds good.
Well, just tell me the way you like them, sweetheart.
They only make them one way, Cliff. Burned.
Okay. 2 burned hamburgers coming right up. Everything on them?
Nothing on them. No cheese, nothing. Just a hamburger, ketchup on the side. Okay?
Hey, you gotta have onions. I mean, I'm having onions, you know? And later on when we start kissing, you know, I'll get embarrassed.
No onions.
All right, okay. Well, I won't have onions either. The sacrifices we men make for you women. This is gonna be the start of a fabulous relationship, Sonny.
Saxon.
Deborah, this is Nicole Kavanaugh. I'm glad to have caught you in.
Hi, what can I do for you?
Well, hopefully you can help me find my husband.
Nicole, you realize we can't officially declare a person missing for at least 24 hours.
Deborah, I'm worried. I'm worried sick. I don't know where he could be.
Well, have you called his office or the hospital?
Yes, I have. Listen, I was hoping maybe he got a call from police headquarters to come down there and do some forensic work.
No, nothing's happened that would require his services here.
Deborah, I'm afraid that something terrible might have happened.
Oh, wait a minute, Nicole. Don't get excited. It won't do any good. I'll tell you what. Just stay by the phone in case he calls, okay? And I'll have a patrol unit near his office stop by to make sure that everything's all right.
You'll call me just as soon as they report in?
Yes, of course I will. I'll be here for the next couple of hours, so if you hear anything, you call me, okay? And don't worry, everything's gonna be all right.
How long before she comes to, Doug?
Shouldn't be long.
You know, I gotta hand it to you. You work pretty good under the gun. Hey, it's just a little joke.
What I did in there should have been done in the hospital.
Yeah, well, it's a luxury I couldn't afford. Besides, she can't complain. You said she'd be dead without that operation.
I didn't say that. I said she might be dead with it.
I'm burning! Oh my God! I
problem, Doc?
You know what her problem is? The infection's spreading.
Well, give her some more antibiotics.
I haven't got any more. This backroom treatment has gone as far as it can go. Now she's got to get to the hospital.
No, forget it. It's too risky.
She doesn't get the right attention. She's not going to make it.
Oh, he doesn't care if I live or die. Oh, he doesn't care. In fact, that's wrong. He'd rather I be dead.
Look, you shut up, damn you.
Oh, just look at him. If you could see his face beneath that mask. He's smiling. I swear it. He'd be glad if I'm not dying. Am I?
Just calm down, will you? You're much better off in a hospital. You know that.
You shut up, too. She's
You
not
wanna
going
go to a
anywhere.
hospital? Do you know how sick you are?
You hear what he says?
You got the bullet out. You're going to be okay.
Is that right? Am I gonna be okay? I'm not gonna die. I don't want to die. Oh, please. Tobias.
Shut up.
Tobias! He's a doctor! He knows!
Oh, yeah, he knows. And now he knows too damn much.
Seems as though a harmony is hard to find, always on our mind, and frustrated days pass without sight, the edge of night, half dark, half light, as we watch our heart.
He doesn't care if I live or die. Oh, no, that's wrong. He'd rather I was dead.
Shut up, damn you.
Just look at him. If you could see his face beneath that damn mask, he'd be smiling, I swear it. He's happy that I'm not gonna die,
Just
am
calm
I?
down. You have a much better chance if I can take you to a hospital.
You shut up, too,
You
Doc.
wanna go
She's
to a
not going
hospital,
anywhere.
don't you? You know how sick you are.
God, don't you hear what he said?
Look, you're going to be all right. He got the bullet out.
Is it true? Am I gonna be okay? I don't wanna die. I don't wanna. Tobias!
Shut up.
Tobias, he's a doctor! He knows!
Oh, yeah, he knows. And now he knows too damn much.
Put that gun away and get out of here.
What?
You heard what I said. The wound is open. She started bleeding again. I gotta try and stop it. But I'm not gonna do a damn thing with you waving that cannon in my face.
He didn't want you to know who he was. I wasn't supposed to say anything. I didn't mean to say it.
Don't worry about it. I knew who he was the moment he came into my office. Your friend Tobias doesn't know how famous he is. My wife even did a newscast on him. Now, take it easy. Just a few more minutes.
Oh, God. Why did I ever? Mama, why does the house always smell?
What?
My mother's house. It always used to smell of cooking. She used to work for a caterer. She wanted me to do the same thing. I hated it. I ran away. Oh, God. What were we talking about?
Talking about Tobias. And you. You're the maid, aren't you? One called Louise. You tried to kill Paige Madison?
I ran away from home. My daddy came looking for me.
Why did you want to do that, Louise? Why did you want to hurt her? She didn't tell the police about you, you know? It's obvious she didn't know who you were.
If I died, my daddy would be glad. It's true. He only came looking for me because my mama made him do it. He didn't even try to make me come home. He just sat there with his hands all folded in front of him, and he asked me if I needed any money. Money. He was paying me to stay away from home.
What about Tobias? Did he pay you too? Did he pay you to kill Paige
I
Madison?
tried to get into her room. She wouldn't let me in. I don't know why she wouldn't. I had it all set so perfect, you know. I had everybody in the house all gone away.
Something about the Madison house?
I even had the bodyguard, Guthrie. I called him up and I lied. I said that I was calling from the hospital and that his friend was dying. Oh, God, I don't want to die. I'm not dying, am I? Tell me, doctor.
You tell me first, Louise. You tell me what happened. Go on.
First I went to her room. Oh, no. First I went to her stepmother's room. That famous movie star, Nola Patterson.
Come in.
Are you sure this is all you want, Mrs. Madison?
Yes, I'm not very hungry.
Your appetite would be better if you had a little drink before dinner.
A drink?
I'd be glad to bring something up if you like.
Well, maybe... Oh, a sherry would be nice. Or, no, just a small cocktail. A Manhattan.
I don't know much about mixing drinks. Why don't I just bring up a bottle and some ice? But she had a gun. I didn't even think she'd have... Stupid. That was so stupid.
And then what happened? You called Tobias, told him you were hurt and needed help? Louise? Louise!
What happened? Is she dead?
Do you care? You really give a damn who dies? Tobias?
Who is it?
It's Nola, darling. I know it's late, but I heard your radio playing, and I'm not sleeping so very well myself these days.
Oh, I can think of plenty of reasons for insomnia in this house.
Paige, I hope you know how dreadful I feel about what happened. I hope you've been able to forgive me.
For what, Nola? You didn't try to kill me. Louise did. But, I do think we ought to be a little more careful about choosing domestics in this house.
That girl had me completely fooled. And a fool is the right word. Boy, that's what she made of me in more ways than one. You know, I should have suspected that she was a fraud from the minute she asked for my autograph. Only a complete fraud would want Nola Patterson's signature. Of course, the worst thing she did to me was getting me drunk, so that I couldn't interfere with her.
Well, she was very thorough, Nola. I almost admire her for it.
Yes, well, I know I shouldn't have given in. She wouldn't have succeeded if I'd been stronger, but when she practically poured that first drink down my throat...
You have nothing to blame yourself for, Nola, honestly.
I know I said some awful things to you when I was in that condition. I'm so ashamed of what I've become, Paige. Sometimes I think I'd be better off if I just went back to that clinic and locked the door behind me. There's only one reason I don't do that.
Well, there's no reason for you to do it. You have a family here that cares about you.
No, there's really only one person in my life who cares about me. And I care about him very much. That's why I wanted to talk to you. About him.
About Brian, I suppose.
The only thing that keeps me going is the hope of seeing my son happy. And you can do that, Paige.
Oh, I can.
Yes, you can do a very important thing for Brian. For all of us. You can find a man of your own.
would make Brian happy? If I got myself a new boyfriend?
I wasn't aware there was an old one.
No. No, I suppose you're right. The boys I knew in Los Angeles don't exactly count for much now, do they?
Or for that matter, the boys you knew in Mr. Tobias's gang. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bring that up.
Nola, there was absolutely nothing between me and any of the boys in the gang. I told that to the police, and I'm telling it to you. Tobias and I were friends. And I hope we still are, regardless of what the others have done.
Well, yes, of course.
And as far as Brian being happy if I got a new boyfriend, don't you mean that you would be happy?
Yes, I would. And so would your father. Look, it's only natural, darling, at your age. I was married at your age. No. I guess I was a few years older, but heaven knows I was thinking about marriage.
I thought you were thinking about your career.
Of course I was. Falling in love, getting married, having children, those things don't occupy your whole life, important as they may be. Did you know I was working while I was carrying Brian? Yes, I was making a movie. This Night Is Mine. I was on loan to Paramount. I was 6 months pregnant by the time they finished it. I don't think I ever got so many close-ups in one film.
You know, Nola, there's a little trouble. I'm not allowed to socialize too much. I hardly ever get out of this house.
Yes, I know. But of course there are 2 eligible men in this house, aren't there? Paige, I know how you feel about Brian. What I mean is, I know you've had a schoolgirl crush on him. Or you did have, anyway, a few years ago. And that was perfectly natural. He is a very charming young man, if you don't mind a mother's pride.
Nola, I think you're right about that time. It really is getting late.
Look, I'm sorry if this makes you uncomfortable, but it's really time we brought this out into the open, Paige. You must realize it's not possible to hide your feelings in a close-knit family.
Is that what you think we are? A close-knit family?
Well, we used to be once. And it was very obvious how you felt about Brian. To me, to your father, and to Brian. Oh, yes, Brian knows how you feel. In fact, I think that was one of the reasons he thought it best to leave the house 3 years ago.
No, you can't be serious.
Oh, well, I'm sure there were other reasons. Brian was restless. He wanted to do something with his life. Your father was so busy working. I wasn't so busy, which was just as bad.
No, I can't believe what you're telling me. Did Brian tell you this? Did he say that the reason why he left was because of me?
Now, please, don't overreact. Darling, I'm simply saying that Brian was a little embarrassed that you had these feelings for him when he didn't. Oh, you know, it's always so difficult when one person cares and the other doesn't. God knows, I've known that only too well.
I see.
But as I said, there are 2 eligible young men in this house.
Oh, I suppose you're talking about Steve.
Well, I'm sure you've noticed how handsome he is. Oh, that gorgeous coloring. I've always adored blonde hair and blue eyes.
Nola, please. I
Look,
don't hear
he's
anymore.
very taken with you, Paige. Haven't you noticed that?
Well, you know, I have noticed him following me around, but I always thought that was because he was my bodyguard.
Oh, no. I think he'd be inclined to follow you, even if he weren't. Oh, that young man really likes you. And I think you like him, too.
No, I don't want to hear any more of this. I'm tired and I want to go to bed.
Yes, of course, darling.
And just one other thing, about Steve. I just want to set your mind about this. He is very much in love, but not with me.
Nicole, we have checked every hospital inside the city limits, and I'll tell you one thing for sure. Your husband has not seen a patient in any one of them, and he's not a patient himself.
Oh, it was the last part that I was worried about. I just can't understand Miles being this late without getting in touch with me, unless there is a very good reason. Or should I say a very bad reason?
Nicole, we haven't come up with any reason for anything bad to have happened to Miles, so I don't think you should worry about it.
Afraid that's easier said than done.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Did you say something about having company?
Yes, Margot's here. Mrs. Dorn, she's kind of at loose ends herself this evening. Which reminds me, have you received any reports about an attempted suicide?
Attempted suicide? No. It doesn't mean there weren't half a dozen tonight, but I don't always get reports on everything that happens.
Of course, this one may not have been reported at all, especially if they stopped it from going too far.
Nicole, is this something I should know about?
Oh, no, I didn't mean to give that impression. It's probably wrong of me to mention it at all. Attempted suicide is considered some sort of crime, isn't it?
Well, we're required by law to bring the person in for psychiatric examination and commit them to a hospital if it's necessary for their own protection. But Nicole, are you sure you don't want to tell me any more about this?
Oh, I don't know the person. I don't even know the name. It's some young girl that Elliot Dorn used to know when he was involved with the Children of the Earth. Please, Deborah, just forget I mentioned it, okay?
Well, all right, as long as you're willing to forget all the bad reasons that Miles is missing, okay? Now listen, call me if he comes in, and I'll be here for the next couple of hours.
Well, I will, of course.
Hope to hear from you soon.
Yeah, thank you, Deborah.
Bye-bye. Tough night.
Yeah, it's very tough.
Tough all over, huh? There you go. Thanks, Rick.
Aha. Bonsoir. Au revoir. Bonsoir.
Almost. Back so soon.
Ah, love has given wings to my feet. Les tablecloth, les napkin, les candle, les matches, and the burned hamburger. Sans onions.
Well, that's really nice, Cliff. Thank you very much.
Ça rien.
What?
That's, you're welcome in French.
Oh.
I'm really starving. Must be this night air. Permit me to bite your neck.
Bite this.
Ah, with pleasure.
Cliff, come on. I want to do my work and eat my food, all right?
Why is this work, eh? The night is a time for fun and romance.
Yeah, night is when most cops work because there are too many people out on the streets having too much fun.
Well, there's a lot of people who don't have enough romance.
Cliff, why are you here?
I'm opening up a very exclusive French restaurant.
Don't. No more jokes, please. Be serious. What are you doing here? What are you doing this for?
Seriously?
Yeah.
You asked for it. I couldn't sleep tonight. I went home and I laid there and tried to close my eyes, but I could only think of one thing. I just couldn't turn my mind off. How could I be so wrong?
Wrong about what?
The nomination for the DA. I honestly believed that I'd get that nomination over Logan.
Yeah, you gave a lot of people that impression.
Well, that was the impression I had myself. I had lunch with a couple of guys down the courthouse, and they assured me that Logan was out of the picture. I mean, he took a bribe, right? I'd be the only other logical choice. Looks like they were wrong.
Well, Cliff, I'm sorry you're disappointed, but to tell you the truth, I'm not that surprised.
You too, huh? It's all right. Guess what they say about politics is true. It's not what you know, it's who you know. Who do I know? Nobody. Except, of course, you, Scarlett.
Oh, yes, you do know me.
You know people in this town, don't you?
Sure, I know people. In fact, I met a couple tonight. 3 muggers, a couple of arsonists, and a housebreaker.
No more jokes. I'm talking about people with political power, like Geraldine Saxon, She used to be married to your old man, right? Now, if she were on my side, I'd have that nomination instead of Logan.
Excuse me. Saxon. Yes, Sam. Did you say that Dr. Kavanaugh's office seemed undisturbed? Oh, yeah? I don't know. Maybe he keeps his lights on when he leaves.
I'm not a killer, Doc. Don't you understand? That's why you're alive right now. Because I never killed anyone in my life.
Seems to me I recall hearing about 2 guards at an army warehouse.
I had nothing to do with that. I wasn't even in the warehouse when the shooting started. I was outside making sure Paige was all right. Everybody with me had strict orders not to shoot.
They had weapons, and they...
Look,
weapons for killing.
I don't have to justify myself to you. I don't give a damn what you think. We were there to help people. People who needed help. Thousands of people, and it wasn't coming from anybody else.
Just a mission of mercy, was that it?
Look, you think because of what's been happening... Oh, look, I'm sick of arguing with you. Who the hell are you, anyway?
Just a simple country doctor. I happen to know a lot more about you than you think.
You don't know a thing about me, Doc. You got it in your mind that I'm some kind of crazy killer because some creeps have been going around taking pot shots at Paige.
You had nothing to do with that?
You know why I'm in Monticello, Doc? To stop them. Yeah. That's why I risked my neck coming to this town, because I heard what was going on. I heard these creeps were shooting at Paige because she ratted on us.
She didn't rat on you.
Yeah, I know that. I know it. But the rest of them didn't believe it. Most of them were running scared, and the others were trying to waste Paige. I got here as quick as I could, and I got in touch with some of them. And then all of a sudden, I get a call from Louise. She tells me she's bleeding to death, and I got to do something to help her.
So you had to kidnap me, huh?
Yeah. Now, the big question is, what am I going to do with you? What the hell was that? Crazy fool. What was she trying to do?
I don't know. Trying to leave, trying to get away?
Is she all right?
No. She's dead.
What?
I'm surprised she lasted this long. I'm sorry.
Oh, my God. She's dead? She wasn't even 25.
Margot, it is 1:30 in the morning. Miles would not stay out this late without telling me. He just wouldn't do it.
Darling, you've done everything in your power. I mean, you've told the police.
If Miles hasn't called, it's because he couldn't call. He's in some sort of trouble.
Oh, come on, darling. Well, what kind of trouble could he be in? Well, look, if it's any kind of trouble, it's someone else's trouble. He probably saw a highway accident somewhere, and he's at the scene treating
Deborah
someone.
Saxon says there are no hospital reports and there are no accident reports involving Miles.
Well, maybe it's something that hasn't happened or been reported yet.
Maybe. But what? What?
What was she trying to do?
I don't know. Trying to leave, trying to get away?
Is she all right?
No. She's dead.
What?
I'm surprised she lasted this long. I'm sorry.
Oh, my God. She's dead? She wasn't even 25.
thought you'd be used to this sort of thing by now. I mean, I am. My husband isn't even a doctor. Of course, he does run a nightclub. Kind of used to him coming at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, by the way, I asked Deborah Saxon if she'd received any reports about an attempted suicide. She hadn't heard anything.
Well, I assumed that Elliot got there in time to be sure that it wasn't even attempted.
Of course, Deborah doesn't know everything that's going on in Monticello. She is only one police officer.
Oh, but, darling, if she said she hadn't heard of anything, I think you can take her word for it. There, you see, there's Miles now.
No, He has a key. Elliot.
Good evening, ladies.
Darling.
Or should I say good morning?
Come on in.
Well, you two look wide awake.
Well, we are burning candles in the window for Nicole's wandering husband.
Oh, Dr. Kavanaugh. I thought I was horribly late. That makes me feel a bit better.
We don't know where he is. I've called the police.
The police? You must be worried then.
I've been trying to convince Nicole that husbands have a way of not reporting in. A present company not accepted.
Margot, you know exactly where I was tonight. In fact, you know where I am most nights.
Well, that's not exactly true. You didn't tell me where this attempted suicide was taking place.
Why don't you sit down? What
Yeah.
happened, Elliot?
Thank you.
Is the girl all right?
Oh, she's fine. I think it was just a bid for attention.
Miles is always telling me when people even threaten to commit suicide, they have to be watched very carefully. Very often these attempts and threats aren't phony. They are real.
Well, somehow I don't think so in this case. I think all Julia really wanted was her bus fare home, you know.
Julia? I thought you said her name was Betsy.
Her name is Julia, but she doesn't like it. She prefers to be called Betsy. Betsy Johnson. Anyway, I fell for her wicked scheme. I gave her all the money I had in my pocket, about $200. And then I put her on the next bus west. Let somebody else take care of her now. Nicole, you do look worried.
Oh, don't mind me. Elliot, why don't you take your wife home?
Oh, no, sirree. I'm not leaving here until Miles gets home.
Ah, Margot, please. You look very tired. I know I am. I was just thinking maybe the best idea is for me to go on up and go to bed.
Are you absolutely sure? Because I really don't mind staying.
No, go home. You know, I'm sure you're right. Miles is probably off in some medical emergency and he just can't get to a phone.
Well, all right, I will go on one condition. On the condition that you call me the minute he comes home, or if you feel like you need some company. I will.
Listen, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm certainly tired. I had a very strained day trying to cope with an hysterical woman. At least she was happy when I left.
Welcome home.
Oh, God. He scared me.
Yeah. Well, you scared me this evening. Tell me, what time was it when you decided to run off and leave Jamie all by himself?
Oh, I just left a few minutes ago. You must have walked in just a couple of minutes before I left.
Left to go where?
I went to the laundry room to see if our things were dry.
At 1:30 in the morning.
Well, let me see. Actually, I think it was a little bit earlier, like around half an hour ago, but I kind of lost track of the time, you know. Jamie was asleep. Come on, will you stop looking at me like I committed some kind of major crime? I was just gone for 30 minutes.
To check on the laundry.
Yeah. You always said you'd never have anything clean, so I was trying to be the good little wife.
I've been home for 2 hours, Raven.
I thought you said you were going to come home at 1 o'clock. Didn't you say you had to work late because of the election campaign?
I got tired. I got very, very tired. But you'd have been amazed to see how quick I woke up when I came in here and found Jamie babysitting for himself.
Oh, all right.
All right? What's all right?
So I didn't go to the laundry room.
Well, I know that. Can't get you to go down there in the daytime. It scares you. It must be twice as scary at 1:30 in the
I
morning.
went to a movie, Logan.
TV broken?
No, I just didn't feel like watching television. I went to that French film at Cinema One. I figured if I waited for you to take me, I'd never get there.
Why didn't you get a sitter for our little boy?
I tried. I did. I called Mrs. Harris. I called Geraldine. I even tried to call the little brat
The
downstairs.
little brat downstairs is 15 years old. You really think her mother let her go out this time of night?
All right, Logan, I'm sorry. Look, I just didn't think you'd be home this early. I mean, I didn't know that the movie was going to last 2.5 hours. Is Jamie all right?
Close the door. Now turn around. Look at me. Now you tell me again. Where were you tonight?
I told you where I went. I went to see a movie. What do you want? You want me to tell you the plot line? Okay. What's wrong with you? You think I went to some singles bar to pick up a man?
You're not even ashamed. Can't you see? There is something intrinsically, deeply wrong about leaving a 7-month-old baby by himself.
Right. I know I was wrong. I didn't even enjoy the movie. I mean, I spent the whole time worrying about whether he was okay.
But you sat through it anyway, bravely munching your popcorn.
All right, look. I said I was wrong. I admitted it. What do you want me to do?
Tell me, if you could have beaten me home, if that movie had let out an hour earlier, would you have admitted it then, would you? Huh?
You just leave me alone.
Leave you alone. I asked you a question.
Don't you get physical with me.
You wouldn't have said a word about it, would you?
No, I wouldn't have. Why should I? So I could come home and you could maul me?
I'll show you mauling.
Don't you get rough with me. Look, you're up for re-election, and you're not going to be re-elected if you get charged with wife-beating.
It might be worth it. You never know.
You are so smart. You are such a hot-shot politician, such a great little wit, such a friend to the common people. But do you know what? When it comes down to being a husband and a man, you have no idea how a woman feels, how she thinks, what she wants.
What are you saying? That this is my fault? I can't believe this. All right, I'm a lousy husband. I've been working late at the office, what, a couple nights a week, maybe more? I'm knee-deep in this campaign, but this campaign is over in 2 months. What's your excuse going to be then, huh?
Hit me. You want to do it, you're just dying to do it. Go ahead. Go ahead. Come on, I won't go to the newspapers. You're still going to win your little election. Come on, hit me, Logan.
Well, you'd like that, wouldn't you? You really would like that. That'd make you feel better, wouldn't it? No deal, Raven. No deal. No spanking is going to make this all right.
No, Sam, I just thought there might have been a doctor at the scene. I mean, before the ambulance came to pick up the victims. There weren't, huh? Oh, that's too bad. More ways than one. Okay, well, thanks a lot. Yeah, for a little while. Okay, I'll see you later. Bye. Cliff? Cliff? Cliff, hey. Come on, wake up. Cliff.
No. I'll look for a job tomorrow.
Cliff, it's Deborah, and you're at the police station.
Deborah.
That's it. Get up now. You have to go home, okay? I'm not leaving headquarters until I find out what happened to Dr. Kavanaugh.
Dr. Kavanaugh. Mrs. Kavanaugh can call us at the diner.
I doubt if they have plug-in phones at all-night diners. Up and at 'em. Come on.
Well, we can call her from there. Come on, I want another hamburger with mustard and mayonnaise and ketchup and tomatoes and pickles and onions. No onions and lettuce.
What, no relish?
I don't want to make a pig of myself. Come on, I want to spend some time alone with you.
And I know why, too. You want to pump me about my stepmother.
Hey, no. Oh, really? I never thought of Geraldine Saxon as being related to you. I just found out that this afternoon I was reading this magazine article about your old man. You know, it's been a year since he was killed. Yeah, I know. You don't want to be reminded of that, huh?
No, I don't.
This article said that she was some sort of political power around here, a kingmaker. Said she was the one that got her husband into the Senate and got Kevin Jameson into politics.
Look,
you know.
if you think an introduction to Geraldine is going to give you a ticket to the White House, you're mistaken, all right? She's not even interested in politics anymore.
Bet me. Hey, I know for a fact that Logan wouldn't have this nomination if she didn't do some singing and dancing for the mayor.
Oh, you going to make that your excuse for losing?
What?
Saxon.
Deborah, listen, this is Nicole Kavanaugh again. Listen, I'm sorry to bother you so soon. I know you don't have any news because you said that you'd tell me, but I was wondering, could you arrange to have someone break into Miles's office?
Nicole, the police have already been there, and there's nothing that's been disturbed.
I know, but has anybody actually been inside the office? I mean, just in...
Hi.
Nicole, what's happening?
I don't know. All I know is my husband's home. Where have you been? Come on, I was so scared. I thought something awful happened to you. I thought you were lying dead somewhere.
I'm fine, really. I'm sorry I couldn't get in touch with you. There was no way I could do it.
So I was just telling Deborah Saxon to break into your office. I thought you'd had a heart attack. Well, look at you.
Yeah, I know. I'm a mess. Been crawling around on my hands and knees. It was worth it to get home to you.
But what happened? Where have you been? I mean, Deborah thought you might have... Deborah. She's still on the phone. Deborah, are you still there?
Yes, I'm here. Would you please tell me what's going on?
I don't know. Miles just walked in the door. He looks like he's been through guerrilla warfare.
You better let me talk to her. It's police business. Deborah, it's Miles.
I guess you know you drove your wife crazy tonight.
Yes, well, it wasn't intentional, I assure you. The fact is, I was abducted from my office. Must have been around 11 o'clock.
Abducted? By who?
There's a man in a ski mask, a young man, I'd say. His name was Tobias.
You mean the Tobias we've been looking for?
I think so. He needed a doctor, he said, and I was unlucky enough to get the job. He drove me out to the countryside at gunpoint. He handcuffed me to the door handle of the back seat. It wasn't necessary. He said he had a dying woman that he wanted me to treat. I said I'd do it.
What woman?
Well, her name was Louise. That's the name she went by. She's the one who was posing as the maid for the Madison household, trying to get close enough to Paige Madison to kill her, I guess, except she got shot herself.
Well, where are they right now?
Well, I know where I left them, Deborah. It's an old abandoned warehouse somewhere north of the city. It's not a permanent residence or anything. I'm sure it's just a place that this Louise ran to like a wounded animal. Look, I don't know whether I'm going to be able to help you find the place again. I doubt that Tobias is still there.
What about Louise?
Yeah, I imagine she's still there. I don't think he'd take the time or the trouble to move the body. She's dead.
My God. Look, I'm going to call Chief Marceau about this. I know he's going to want more details. I know it's a little late and you must be pretty tired, but would it be possible if we came over right now?
Well, all right, I guess you have to. I'll see you then.
Good. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
You can't go over there tonight, not in your condition.
Well, no, it's all right. They're coming over here.
That could wait until tomorrow. Oh, darling, you look terrible.
Well, I've been doing a little bit of running through the woods, believe it or not. It is surprising how fast you run when you know there's a man with a gun after you.
He tried to shoot you?
Yeah, I made it to the highway and got a lift back into town.
How awful for you. This Tobias must be a monster.
I don't know. He claims to mean Paige no harm. I guess the same doesn't go for me.
I know you had a schoolgirl crush on Brian a few years ago, but that was only natural, wasn't it? He is a very charming young man, if you don't mind a mother's pride.
Brian. Brian.
It's really time we brought this all out into the open, Paige. You can't hide your feelings anymore.
No. No.
Everyone knows how you feel about Brian. I know it. Your father knows it. Even Brian knows. But why don't you tell him, Paige? Why don't you come right out with it? Tell him that you love him. You'd like that, wouldn't you? Then go ahead, damn you. Tell him everything.
Go ahead, Paige. Tell me everything.
I can't. I can't.
Why can't you? If it's the truth.
Because of what she said. I'll go away again.
Did you say that, Mother?
You know how difficult it is when one person cares, the other doesn't.
Besides, it's not me you want at all, is it? You're in love with Tobias, Paige. You're in love with Tobias.
No. No, I swear it. Brian, I want you. I want you.
Tobias.
Tobias. What are you doing here?
Well, I live here, remember?
Yeah, but since when do you park yourself outside my door?
No. You answered the door before I had a chance to knock.
Oh.
Where are you off to?
The kitchen. I went to get something to drink.
Is everything okay?
Yeah, why do you ask?
You look a little flustered.
You startled me, that's all.
Oh. Doesn't have anything to do with that noise, does it?
What noise?
Well, I was in my room, and I thought I heard a noise in your room. What was it? Yeah, I thought I heard this pinging sound. It was very hard to make out what it was.
Yeah, well, that was me. I was at the window. I thought I'd get a little fresh air instead of using the air conditioner. But with the weather as humid as it's been, I couldn't unstick the windows.
Oh, well, here, let me give you a hand. There you are.
Thanks.
You know, it's not a great idea to stand in front of a window like that.
Yeah, well, it was the only way I could figure to get it open.
Oh, you make yourself a very good target, you know? You never know who might be standing outside.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, as soon as you leave, I'll get back into bed and pull the covers over my head, turn off the lights, and I'll be very safe there.
Paige, how come I get the feeling that I'm getting the bum's rush out of here?
I'm just tired.
Can I talk to you a minute?
Can't I wait till morning?
No. It's about my job here.
Did you change your mind?
Nope, I haven't. I'm going to stick around until your father finds my replacement.
The changing of the guard, right?
Believe me, this is one job I'm not going to find easy to give up.
I already told you I didn't want you to go.
Yeah, well, I owe your father for giving me the job. And I guess keeping you alive is the best way I can repay him.
I'm sure he'll understand.
There's somebody else I want to understand why I'm quitting.
How many guesses do I get?
Paige, it means a lot to me that you stay alive and well.
I thought I was the thorn in your side.
You know, when I first took this job, I thought you were nothing more than just a little rich girl who always got to have her way. But I think I've changed my mind. You and that pretty little face of yours have a terrific future ahead of you. That's why I think I better get out of your life.
I don't know where we're going to find another bodyguard like you.
You need a bodyguard who can use a gun. That's something I can't do. Don't forget to lock your door.
Miles, maybe you ought to see a doctor yourself. You know, you've been through quite an ordeal.
No, I'm fine. I got my own doctor right here. Can't tell you how relieved I was when I walked through that door, saw Nicole.
Can't tell you how relieved I was to have Miles home safe and sound.
You were very lucky tonight, Miles.
Boy, when it got so late and he wasn't home, I imagined all sorts of terrible things had happened to him.
Yeah, I know. Miles, how did this all start?
Well, I was sitting in my office finishing up some paperwork, and there was a very loud knock on the door. Went to see who it was, and I was confronted by a man in a ski mask with a gun.
And he forced you to go on that house call.
Yes, and I was not about to argue with him.
I guess he knew he couldn't take her to the hospital, because he must have known that all gunshot wounds are reported to the police.
I tried to convince him that was the only place she was going to get the proper kind of treatment. He wouldn't hear about it.
You must have been under incredible pressure, having to operate in the back room of a cottage with only the instruments in your black bag.
No, I had a feeling what it was all going to be about. I managed to take some surgical stuff with me. No, the hard thing was trying to operate with Tobias standing over me and a gun pointed at my head.
Well, I'm sure you did the best you could.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure the outcome wouldn't have been the same even if he had done what I said and taken her to the hospital. When I arrived, she had lost an awful lot of blood. The wound was badly infected. Abdomen was rigid. I don't know, I did the best I could.
Oh, I'm sure you did.
It just wasn't enough, that's all. I removed the bullet, gave her all the antibiotics that I had. When she came to, she was delirious with fever. She must have tried to get up off the cot, hemorrhaged, died.
I'll tell you, you're lucky to be out of this alive, Miles.
I still don't know how you did it.
I'm not quite sure how I did it either. It's just at a certain point I realized I'd better make a run for it if I wanted to survive.
What made you think that?
Well, it was something that Louise had done when she was delirious. She called the guy by name.
Tobias.
Yeah. Even though I'd guessed, you know, who he was, still, I think having the name spoken out loud made him feel obliged to do something about it.
Well, you did. She took a big chance.
Well, you know, I didn't even think about it. We ran into the room and we found her dead there, and he was stunned for a moment and kneeling over her body, and I thought, well, all right, this is my chance. I better take it. So I left the room, I slammed the door behind me, and I ran like hell.
Now, you said he fired at you?
Yeah, I heard 2 shots somewhere behind me. I certainly didn't stop to see if I was hit. I think I would have kept on running if I were dead.
Did he come after you at all?
I don't know. I think he must have given up when I disappeared into the woods. I must have run for about, I don't know, half a mile, before I heard the sounds of a highway in front of me. And then all of a sudden, there it was, sweetest sight I've ever seen, cars on a highway.
Miles, even though Louise was delirious, do you think she might have said anything at all that could be of help to us?
Well, she seemed to feel a lot of animosity towards Tobias.
Even though he was trying to save her life?
Yeah, well, she didn't think he was. She thought he'd rather see her dead. Of course, he did come to get me.
Maybe he felt obliged to. Perhaps she threatened to give herself up and incriminate him.
Well, we'll never know that.
What about Tobias? Did he say anything?
Well, he just said one thing might be of interest to you. He said he had nothing to do with the attacks on Paige Madison.
Well, he must have known about the attacks. He was helping one of the assassins.
Yeah, well, just the same, he said the only reason he came back to Monticello was to try to stop the attacks, that he was risking his neck to do it, but that was the reason.
Oh, just a minute, I'll get it. Hello? Yes, he is.
Chief, it's for you. It's a Detective Wilkinson.
Oh, right. Yeah, what do you got, Pete?
The detail you sent up to the North Ridge section, they just radioed in. They located that warehouse.
What'd they find?
A body. It fits the description of the young woman.
Anything else?
I know what you're hoping for. Still searching the area now. So far, no sign of Tobias.
Draper? Draper?
Right here, April.
Why don't you come back to bed?
It's no good, April. Couldn't sleep. Tried everything. Warm milk, counting sheep, nothing works.
Oh, well, why don't you try counting warm milk and drinking sheep? I thought it was funny. What are you reading?
Stein versus Harrison.
Are you working? At this hour?
Oh. Aren't any pictures here. I know the outcome. Still fascinating reading.
Draper, don't you know the worst thing to do to try to go to sleep is to read something which demands a lot of concentration? Come on back to bed.
I just want to clarify a couple of points here.
Draper, if I work at the station past 6 o'clock, you are ready to give me 40 lashes. Now, what gives you the right to turn our bedroom into an office, especially at this hour?
You're not going to get any arguments from me about working late. From now on, You and I are both going to be spending a lot of time in our respective offices.
What are you talking about?
You know how it is with second-rate attorneys. Always takes us longer to get the job done.
Draper, you're a fine attorney.
Seward, Paxton, and Whiteside didn't think so.
Still upset about that, huh?
Well, since I'm not going to be making my fame and fortune in New York, I've got to hustle around here so I can make some more money in Monticello.
Listen, you are doing just fine here in Monticello. Besides, I don't want my husband turning into a workaholic.
I want you to be proud of me.
Draper, I am proud of you. Do you think it makes a bit of difference to me whether you argue cases in front of the Supreme Court or not?
It makes a difference to some people.
Some people, or is it just your father?
Right now, my father thinks I'm on my way to New York City.
He does? Well, why does he think that? Who told him?
I told him. When the job looked like a sure thing, I wrote him a letter.
Oh, Draper, you really should have waited.
Ah, the sky opens up and the voice of reason comes booming through. Fortunately, it's a bit too late. Like, I know how my father feels about Seward, Paxton, and Whiteside. It meant so much for me to be able to tell him I was a part of that firm.
Now you've got to tell him the whole deal fell through.
And that's as depressing as losing the damn job.
It means a lot to you to look good in your father's eyes, doesn't it?
A long time ago, my father applied for a job with them. They turned him down. I just thought he'd admire me if I were selected to work for that firm.
I don't know, Draper. I just don't understand why you feel you have to compete with your father. The only goals that you have to live up to are the goals you set for yourself.
No, I know.
Oh, baby, all I want for you is that you'll be happy.
April, I am happy. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm carrying on like a kid who got a lump of coal in his Christmas stocking, and I'm taking it all out on you.
No, listen, when things like this happen, I want you to be able to talk to me. I mean, we're partners, you know.
But I'm acting like a big kid.
Oh, I like big kids. Oh, speaking of kids, you like them too, don't you? Even little kids, little boy kids, like Jamie, for instance.
Jamie? What the hell did Jamie get into this conversation?
Well, I'm afraid I forgot to tell you, but, well, Raven called earlier and asked me if we wouldn't mind taking care of Jamie this weekend. Well, I'd love to.
The next time I see Raven, I'm going to make sure she understands that this is our home and not a private daycare center.
Draper, whenever Jamie's been here, you've enjoyed his company.
Jamie is here too much. Raven's taking advantage of us, April, and taking advantage of you in particular.
Why me? I mean, I like being with Jamie.
And she knows that only too well. She knows you don't have the heart to turn Jamie away.
Draper, it isn't as though we have any plans for the weekend.
April, that's not the point. I should have put my foot down the first time that woman dropped that kid off here without any explanation. And ever since, you've done everything to encourage her.
Well, since then, she's always called us beforehand and asked.
Oh, what's the excuse this time, April? I mean, Logan didn't say anything about a trip.
Well, no, Logan is going to be very busy with political rallies and meetings, and Raven said she has a million odds and ends.
Oh, I forgot. You're supposed to buy your fall wardrobe before Labor Day.
Draper, come on, it's not going to inconvenience
Logan
us.
told us not to be so receptive when Raven asked us to babysit. He wants her to spend more time with the kid herself. So what happens now? We get the kid a couple of times during the weekends, and now a couple of days during the weekend.
Come on, Draper, I think you're blowing it all out of proportion.
I think you're just doing yourself a favor, April.
Well, look, it's not as though I can call her up, and I can't tell her no. It's too late.
Oh no, you can't tell. You can't tell her no because you already agreed to accept the baby, didn't you? Now, what happened to all the wonderful decisions we were going to make together? The partnership, April.
Draper, I'm only doing a friend a favor.
You're doing yourself a favor, April.
Well, yeah, maybe I am. Look, Draper, I love this house. But whenever Jamie's been here, it always seems that much more complete.
April, I see how you look at Jamie. You treat him like he's your own kid.
Well, Draper, Jamie's the
Jamie's the little boy I'm never going to have, and babysitting for him is about as close as I'll ever get to being a mother.
Aren't you going to say goodnight to me? So what is it? You're going to give me the silent treatment the rest of our marriage, huh?
Logan, I'm sorry. I promise I'll never do it again.
Well, I should hope not. All the irresponsible things you've ever
I
done.
wasn't gone that long.
2 or 3 hours? Jamie's 7 months old. He can't take care of himself. I mean, what if he'd gotten sick? I don't even like to think about a fire, but what if he'd gotten...
Nothing happened, and Jamie's all right.
Nothing happened, and Jamie's all right. I got to see my movie, and everything's right with the world.
I was bored in this apartment, and I did try to get a babysitter. Mrs. Harris was busy, Geraldine was in bed, April and Draper weren't home, and I know Jamie, he's a very good baby. I knew he would sleep all night, and I don't feel bad about what I did.
You have a responsibility to that child, which...
Baby, I'm sorry about the terrible thing I did, and I promise I will never be stupid again.
Well, I hope you mean that.
I do. Jamie will never be left alone, really.
Raven, your job as a mother is not to see that he has a sitter when you decide to go out. You're supposed to care for him yourself. I mean, he needs you.
But it's hard for me, don't you understand? My whole life I've always had people take care of me. And now all of a sudden I have to accept responsibility for somebody else's life. I just don't know how to do
Can't help thinking that if you'd spend more time with him, you would find that you were a good mother. You might even find it's a rewarding feeling.
Well, I just feel alone, and I'm just not very much of a homebody.
I'd like to spend more time with you. You know I would.
Yeah, you're so busy. This campaign now, you never get home before midnight, and then you're so exhausted.
Two more months. 2 more months, that's it, and then it's over.
I'm very sorry I neglected Jamie. I'm just very selfish. You see, there's just something in me. I want to do what I want when I want it.
Well, you can't. You gotta grow up.
Yeah, you know what growing up means to me? Getting old, so nobody wants me.
Except me and Jamie.
Would I appeal to you when I'm old and wrinkled?
I like old wrinkles.
Will I appeal to you as much as I do now?
I don't think right now is a very good test. Let's get some sleep, huh?
Well, we've got a pretty good description of Tobias. Do you want to add anything else to your statement?
No, I think I've given a pretty accurate accounting of what happened.
Well, maybe a good night's sleep will help you recall something that was said, Miles. If you do, get in touch with me.
I'll do that.
If I know Miles, he's going to be wanting to get up bright and early to do rounds at the hospital. I'd like to see him get some rest.
Yeah, well, we should be going now.
Can I use your phone before I go?
Oh, please be our guest.
I know it's late, but I'd like the Madisons to know that they have nothing more to fear from Louise. Also, I'd like to tell the bodyguard that Tobias is in town.
You mean he actually forced Miles to operate at gunpoint?
That's right, Steve. From what Miles told me, the wound was so serious that even if they'd gotten her to a hospital, she probably wouldn't have made it.
Yeah. Well, I knew Paige has been like a magnet attracting these members of the Tobias gang to Monticello. I'm not a bit surprised that she attracted Tobias himself.
Well, that's the irony of the whole thing, Steve. From what Tobias told Miles, the reason he's come to town is because the members of his gang have been acting against his wishes. He says he's here to try to put an end to the attempts on her life.
I don't know if I believe that. Thanks for calling me, Chief. I'll keep you informed.
Paige? Hey, Paige, I got some information for you. Paige?
still out here?
Well, Tobias had quite a chance coming all the way into the city just to get help for Louise.
Well, he knew he couldn't take her to a hospital because they would have notified the police immediately.
So he picked Miles to make a house call.
That's right. Apparently Miles was working late. He heard a knock on his door, and when he answered it, found himself face to face with our ski-masked friend.
Well, I guess we can add kidnapping to the list of charges against Tobias.
I'll tell you, Steve, Miles was through quite an ordeal. This guy threatened to kill him if he didn't cooperate.
You mean he actually forced Miles to operate at gunpoint?
That's right. Now, Miles told me that the wound was so bad that even if they'd gotten her to a hospital in time, she probably wouldn't have made it.
Paige has been like a magnet attracting members of Tobias's gang to Monticello. It doesn't surprise me a bit that she's attracted Tobias here himself.
Well, that's the irony of the whole thing, Steve. Tobias told Miles that the only reason he was in town was to keep members of his gang from going against his wishes. He says he's here in order to prevent any further attempts on her life.
Tobias? You're still out here? What are you doing? Put that thing away! My friend! You're gonna hurt me. Is he dead?
No, barely alive.
Tobias was my friend. Why would he try to hurt me?
Paige, you posed as much a threat to Tobias as you did any other members of his gang. I'm sure he felt he had to eliminate you.
You did it. You saved my life. You're not gun shy.
Thank God I could do it. Thank God I could do it when I had to.
Oh, I don't want to look at him.
You have to, Paige. You have to make sure it's Tobias.
Oh my God. That's Jed.
Well, at long last, home sweet home.
Oh, I should say this day seems as though it began 465 years ago. Oh.
Good evening, Mrs. Doyle.
Oh, Jenny, I didn't expect you'd still be here.
Oh.
Jenny, how did you like your first day on the job?
Well, if today is any indication of how things are around here, I'm going to be very happy working for you.
No, well, I'm sure the feeling will be mutual.
The guided tour we gave you this morning, was it sufficient? Did you find all the cleaning appliances?
Well, I had trouble finding things to clean. When I began to work this morning, I found that this whole apartment could pass one of those white glove tests. Your former help must have been very good.
Sarah did have some talent.
Well, I only hope that I can do as well.
Oh, well, don't get carried away. We've been without help for about 2 weeks. I did have a cleaning service come in, and to tell you the truth, I did a little dusting myself yesterday.
Typical female, cleaning up before the maid gets here.
Well, anything to make a good impression, right, dear? Well, it was very thoughtful of you to stay and wait up for us.
Oh, well, that's all right. Can I get you something to eat before you go to bed? Or?
Nothing for me, thank you, no.
All I really want is a nightcap, and I can make that myself.
When it is late, I think you could call it a day.
Oh, well, very well. If you'll excuse me, I'll go change.
All right.
Okay.
Well, she seems pleasant enough.
Yes. Did you care for something, Margot?
Oh, darling, no thank you. I am asleep on my feet. Oh.
My nerves are a bit taut. I need this to relax.
Oh, my poor darling, you've had rather a trying day, haven't you? I'm glad everything worked out with your friend.
Friend? Oh, yeah. The young lady who threatened suicide. Well, she wasn't really a friend. She's more like a disciple.
Oh, yeah, from the bad old days of the Earth Minister, right?
I don't think they were so bad. I don't think I did those kids much harm.
Well, this one doesn't sound like she was in very good shape.
It wasn't my fault. There are a lot of poor lost souls on this planet, Margot.
Oh, yeah. Well, did you ever find out what her problem was?
Yeah, the same sad old story. She met a young man who left her in the lurch. The polite word for pregnant.
Oh, my goodness. Well, what did you say to her?
I spoke to her about the sanctity of life. Not only her own, but the life growing inside of her. Asked her if she had a family. She did. In Wisconsin, a sister. So I advised her to return.
Oh, darling, it was very good of you.
I'm afraid it cost me a bit more than my time. I had to give everything I had on me for the bus fare and so forth, you know.
Well, it was worth it, right?
It was worth it, but I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you for some cash, if you don't mind.
Oh, I don't mind, darling. I'll write you a check in the morning.
You know, Margot, it'd be much more convenient if I had a drawing account of my own. We did speak about this before, remember?
Yes, darling, it is a little late to discuss it tonight, though.
Yeah, you're right. We'll discuss it over dinner tomorrow night. That dinner at the Unicorn we didn't have tonight.
Oh, right. I'm not going to let you off the hook on that one.
Our postponement will be brief. Would Madame care to have dinner with me tomorrow night?
Hungry already.
I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, darling, I do love you, you know.
Oh, and I love you.
Oh, you know, I just about resigned myself to going through this life all alone. And suddenly you showed up.
Sorry you altered your plans?
No, I'm very happy with the way my plans are working out. When you told me that we could grow to love each other, I didn't believe you, but you were right. Elliot, I love you so much.
Oh, excuse me.
Oh, that's quite all right, Jenny. In fact, you'd have to get used to this. My wife and I are a very affectionate couple.
Well, I guess I'll be leaving.
Good night, Jen.
Good night. Oh, Mr. Dorn, while you were out, you had a phone call. A woman called and said that it was very important that she talk to you and to call back at any hour.
Who on earth was that?
I left her number in the kitchen, but the woman's name was Albright. Sarah Albright.
I thought we'd heard the last of Sarah.
Oh, poor Sarah. She said it was urgent. I hope nothing's happened.
Sarah always had the habit of overstating a bit. I'm sure it's nothing to worry about.
Oh, maybe it's something about her job. Maybe she's lost it. Maybe she wants to come back to work for us again.
Margot, as fond as I am of Sarah, she did leave us of her own volition, and on very short notice at that.
Yeah, but she did a very good job while she was here.
Jenny is very competent. I think we should just leave things the way they are.
I suppose.
In all probability, all she wants is a job reference or something like that.
Well, then, darling, why does she contact you? I mean, I was the one who hired her.
I don't know. Maybe she thinks that coming from the same part of the world as she does, I'd probably be more generous with my adjectives in a letter of recommendation.
Oh, yeah, I suppose. Are you going to return a call tonight?
It's the least I can do. Why don't you just run up to bed and I'll take care of this.
Okay. Don't be long.
I won't. It'll only take a minute.
Bye.
Hello?
Listen, Sarah, calling me here is bad enough, but leaving a message.
Well, well, well. If it isn't the long-lost Elliot Dawn, it's a wonder I still recognize your voice.
What do you want, Sarah?
I see you've hired a new maid. Is that why I haven't heard from you? Have you been busy teaching her how to make a bed?
Listen, calling me here is a very foolish thing to do.
I've tried calling the unicorn, but you're always too busy to take my calls. And you never return a call, so what else am I to do?
Look, I've been busy, very busy.
Ah, yes, I bet you have.
Listen, Sarah, I'll call you tomorrow. I promise.
What's wrong with a little chat right now? Tell me, how's that lovely wife of yours? Does she still have you on a golden leash?
If this is the kind of conversation this is going to be, I'm going to hang up.
Elliot, you were going to call me. We were supposed to make plans to get together.
If I hadn't been so busy, I would have.
Oh, I'm sure you could squeeze me into that busy schedule of yours. You like to squeeze me, or don't you remember?
Listen, Sarah, I recently lost my manager at the Unicorn. I've had to do double duty.
Double-crossing is more like it. Oh, Elliot, it's just that I miss you so much. I want to be with you. I really do. I'm so lonely.
Have you tried a singles bar?
Yes, I've thought of that. In fact, I thought of getting dressed in my most beautiful outfit and wearing some of those jewels you gave me. You remember the jewelry, don't you?
Now, listen, Sarah, don't do anything foolish. You know you can't afford to be seen with those jewels in public.
It's just that I want you to think about me more often, Elliot. That's all I ask.
I think about you all the time, my precious.
Well, then think up a way for us to get together. And I mean very, very soon.
Okay. Well, listen, Margot's upstairs. I've got to go. I'll call you back tomorrow.
Yes, very, very soon, darling.
Yeah, very soon, very soon. Goodbye.
In fact, what about tomorrow night?
Elliot, darling, were you able to reach Sarah?
Oh, yes. We had a delightful conversation.
What was it all about?
Oh, yeah, I was right about what she wanted. She wanted a reference.
Oh.
Oh, thank God that you were there on time, Steve. Tell me, how did you know what was happening?
Well, I wouldn't have until Chief Marceau called. He wanted to let me know that Tobias was in town.
Yeah, it wasn't Tobias, it was Jed.
He must have thought the best way to lure you outside was to wear Tobias' famous ski mask.
But you say Tobias is in Monticello?
Yes, Mrs. Madison. As a matter of fact, Tobias kidnapped Dr. Miles Cavanaugh. He forced him to operate at gunpoint on a woman identified as Marcia Coleman. I think we all know her better as Louise.
Louise, the maid?
That's right, the one-page shot.
My God, what happened to her?
She died. Dr. Cavanaugh couldn't get there in time.
Oh, my God. I've killed someone.
No, Paige, you shot someone who wanted to kill you.
Paige, believe me, she died from neglect much more than she did just the bullet wound.
Steve, I still don't know how you knew Paige was outside.
Yes. Well, I went to Paige's room and I knocked. She didn't answer the door.
I'm sorry, Steve. I thought it was Tobias. I didn't want him to get in trouble. Guys, last time I'll try to deceive you.
It was almost the last time you did anything. Steve, you did a fine job.
That'll be fine.
I hope it's changed your mind about quitting.
All right. Thank you. I have convinced myself that I can shoot a gun now.
Well, that was Chief Marceau. He said he's on his way over.
Oh, no, I can't take any more.
Mom, what's the matter?
I just felt faint for a moment. It's all this talk of death and killing. I can't bear it anymore. I just can't.
Nola, I told you not to come downstairs.
I had to. I'm part of this family, aren't I? But why do more police have to come here now? Why can't they wait until morning?
Because Chief Marceau has some information for us.
But haven't we been put through enough for one night?
Nola, look, this really shouldn't concern you.
I do live here.
Look, Mom, I think Dad's right. I think maybe you should go upstairs and lie down, huh?
Oh, yes, I suppose that would be best. Oh, Brian, be a dear and give me a hand.
I'll be up in just a second. I want to stay and make sure Paige is all right.
Paige is fine. Besides, she has enough help. Brian, I need you. I honestly don't think I can make it up the stairs myself.
I'm fine, Brian.
All right. I'll be upstairs if you need me.
Thank you, darling.
Steve, I really don't know how to repay you for what you did tonight.
Well, believe me, Mr. Madison, I'm very happy I could be of help.
Not half as happy as I am.
Well, I was going to put an extra bonus in your last check just to show you how much I appreciate what you've done already. I guess I'll just have to double it.
Mr. Madison, that really isn't necessary.
No, you'll stay on, I hope. I mean, considering what happened tonight, your reason for resigning really isn't valid.
That's true, Steve.
Well, I have thought about it. I guess I would like to stay.
Mom, I don't blame you for being upset. It's been a pretty rough night for everybody.
Especially poor Paige. She must have been absolutely terrified.
Thank God for Steve Guthrie. He was right there to make sure she wasn't harmed.
Well, I hope this is the beginning of the end of this nightmare for poor Paige. Whatever wrong she committed by joining that group, she's paid for 100 times over.
Yeah, it certainly would be nice to be able to see her smile for a change.
Yes. You've suffered right with her, haven't you, darling?
Well, she is my sister.
Well, at least this terrible ordeal she's been through has had one ray of sunshine.
Oh, really? What's that?
Well, if Paige's life hadn't been in danger, she never would have had a need for a bodyguard, and she never would have met Steve Guthrie.
I don't follow you, Mom.
Well, sure you know. Darling, where are your eyes? Paige has fallen in love with her bodyguard.
That's ridiculous.
Well, it was bound to happen, Brian. After all, they have been spending a lot of time together.
Well, that's only out of necessity. Steve has been protecting Paige.
You must admit, Mr. Guthrie is a handsome young man, and Paige is beautiful. It's understandable that they'd be attracted to each other.
Familiarity breeds love. Is that what you're saying?
Well, and Steve has been responsible for saving Paige's life on more than one occasion. Well, he's become a hero to her.
Look, Mom, you know, you have a very fertile imagination. I'm sure you're just imagining this little romance.
I should think you'd be happy for Paige.
It is inconceivable that Paige is in love with Steve.
Brian, are you jealous?
No. What makes you say that?
Well, the news doesn't seem to please you.
It's just that I'm very surprised to hear it, Mom.
Well, you did have that teenage crush on her. And you've always been overprotective of her. Darling, it's time you realize she's growing up.
Mom, Paige and I happen to be very close. How come she hasn't mentioned this romance to me?
Oh, Paige is like that. Maybe she's afraid there might be some friction. She isn't sure how her father will react to the news.
What does he have to do with this?
Oh, well, fathers always want their little girls to marry business executives, professional people, somebody who'll give them a secure future. I don't think an ex-police officer is exactly what he had in mind.
Just how do you know all this, Mom? Woman's intuition?
The mother knows. Actually, Paige came to me the other day, and we had a mother-daughter chat.
Paige, since when does she confide in you?
Oh, I realize we haven't been close, but I guess she just felt the need to talk to another woman. Brian, there's no doubt in my mind that she loves Steve Guthrie very much.
I think it's obvious, then, why Jed tried to appear as Tobias.
Yeah, well, Paige has always trusted Tobias. I'm sure Jed knew that was the best way to get her out of the house.
I've got a man stationed outside Jed's hospital room. In the event he should regain consciousness, perhaps he can give us some additional information.
You know, I have been reading script and story outlines for some time now, and the most amazing story of all has been unfolding right here in my own backyard.
I'm not telling you the film rights, Daddy. As soon as the police
close this case. I'm going to do everything I possibly can to forget the whole mess ever happened.
Well, that time may come a lot sooner than you think, Miss Madison.
Chief, didn't you say you had some information for us?
The unsuccessful attempt on Page's life and the apprehension of Jed weren't the only good things that happened today, Steve.
Well, what else happened?
Earlier tonight, I got a report from some South American police. It seems that they interceded in a large-scale marijuana operation. The 3 men involved fitted the description of the 3 young men you said were members of the Tobias gang. Davy Rogers, Arcady Jones, and Charlie Nathaniel.
Are they in custody?
Unfortunately, no. They managed to get away, but there's no doubt that they were the ones.
Oh, that shows Draper Scott that I wasn't lying, and the district attorney also knows that brave men exist.
And that proves that my daughter acted in good faith.
Well, I certainly would say that she kept her part of the bargain with the district attorney.
Which means that her immunity from prosecution is still intact.
I would say so.
Oh, that's a load off my shoulders.
Wait a minute, I think we're overlooking something here.
What?
Well, if these 3 men are hiding out somewhere in South America, that means they no longer pose as a threat to Page.
And that means that the Tobias gang is probably all through. And that my daughter is no longer in danger.
Well, Tobias is still out there somewhere.
Yes, but Tobias doesn't pose any threat to me.
Maybe.
He told Miles Cavanaugh that he was trying to stop any further attempts on Page's life.
Well, if he's telling the truth, maybe the danger is over.
Oh, wouldn't that be terrific? I don't have to worry about going to jail, and I don't have to worry about anybody trying to kill me.